iPad.
Hey, sister. Yeah. Oh, I see you back there. Uh-huh.
Okay, wonderful. We are live. I'm gonna have to take this off because this is really bad. Like this feedback is super duper bad.
Gotcha.
But hello, everybody. Coach Hadassah here, along with Coach Michelle. Or do we call him you know what? I like Coach Cotton. What you think?
Coach Cotton. Coach Cotton. Look. Either way, it don't matter. Coach Cotton, Shelly D, Michelle, child.
Coach Shelly D, Coach Cotton. I don't know. But you know what? I think I like Coach Cotton because we actually had a Coach Cotton in high school. We did. We had a Coach Cotton. So I guess
it just flow. It just flow. Coach Cotton. That's fine.
Right. It does flow. Okay, so I'm your metaphysician, personal development coach, wellness entrepreneur, and extreme founding member. And even though I just introduced Coach Cotton, but I want Coach Cotton to introduce herself.
Absolutely. I am Shelly D, Coach Cotton now. I love the way that sounds. I operate as a personal development coach with my brand Renew, Repurpose, and Restore. I am also a founding business owner with the Extreme FX Global Academy. So I'm super excited to be here with Coach Hadassah on this show today.
Yes. So girl, this feedback is gonna get me.
Is it? Oh,
I don't know what I could do, but hopefully it'll go away or something. But okay, now it's gone.
See, I muted myself when you're talking. I think that'd be the difference. So when you're talking, I'm gonna mute.
Okay. All right, that'll work. Okay, so but you can still hear me, right? Okay, all right, great. So here, and you know what? Let me take off these glasses so I won't have this glare on this lighting. So here on today we're going with these themes, right? Like yesterday was mind your business Monday, so we're gonna roll with that. And then today is Tuesday. And so what is our theme for today? Our theme for today is let's talk about it Tuesday, right? I mean, it's Taco Tuesday, so let's taco about it Tuesday. I know that sounds so corny. Let's taco about it Tuesday on Taco Tuesday. I mean, like I really did make tacos today. That's where we're going for dinner tonight.
I'm making some tonight, so that's super, super coincidental. I took out the ground beef and I'm like, I'm making tacos tonight.
Yes. And you know what I did? I put the meat and because I make my own taco seasoning. And so I did that and I took the meat and I put it in the because I use ground turkey. So I put it in the slow cooker and I just let it, I go back and of course ground it, some more, but I put it in the slow cooker and of course it's done. So look, they can have at it. It's just like it's done. You got the cheese is in there, the everything that you put on the taco. I'm done. My job, right? My job is complete.
You did your part. You did your work already, and it's finished.
It's finished. You make your own plate. We're not doing all of that, right? So on Let's Talk About It Tuesday. I was really inspired by today's millionaire mastermind training this morning that we had, and the money coach was on there, right? Tony, that's his name. It's Tony and Marlon, right? So the real money coach, he was on there today, and he talked about it was so much food, right? It was so much food, and I say it was so much food because it was so much knowledge. And here's the thing about not only just knowledge, because knowledge and wisdom, right? Even the scripture says that wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of our times and the strength of our salvation. Okay, so it's wisdom and knowledge that we have to pass down, because Okay, we can have these material things, but without the wisdom and the knowledge in order to get it, to maintain it and sustain it, and to pass it down in order to leave an inheritance to our children's children. We can pass down the material things, but if they don't have the wisdom and the knowledge to match in order to keep it, then it's just you did all of this work in vain. And look, especially on the journey that we're on, because we're the ones that's stepping up to say, hey, we're going to be the first millionaires and things like that of our family. So right, we're the first. Okay. And because we're the first to do so, then we've made a lot of sacrifices, a lot of sacrifices. And we even talked about that on Morning Motivation this morning, about the sacrifices that we have to make in order to even do something like this. So it was a lot of meat, it was a lot of information, and it was really right on time, because many of the things that he talked about, and I shared this with before, Coach Cotton, that on my wealth journey, I started with the knowledge, because coming up, again, I say this as like, second generation network marketer, but then not only that, just, the circle, the people that have been around and my life, just because of like my mother and her network and things like that, like, yeah, we know rich people, we know wealthy people, we know well-to-do people, you know, and we've seen a lot of them that keep their money or kept it, and they've built inheritance and generation and legacy and all of that. But then we've also seen a lot of people that came into millions of dollars, and it went just as easy. And by me seeing that, that sparked something in me, when I was younger, to say, I want to know about money, right? I want to know how it works. I want to know how to keep it. And then my own experience with making a substantial amount of money in my 20s, not like Adrian Dynamite Sloan. I didn't make my first $1 million in my 20s, but but I was pretty much, most likely making more than my peers at the age that I was. But that's just one of those things in the beauty industry, because we're making cash, and that's really predicated on the work that we do. We may be cash flow rich, but keeping it, investing it, those type of things, that and management, money management, because that's all a part of it. It's like, what do you do with it? So my prayer was that I don't want to work for money. I want money to work for me. How do I go about doing this, especially with the health challenge that I had? And that began that journey of learning about, like he said earlier today, taxes. Like, taxes is the biggest expense that we'll ever have. And sure enough, what did I pull out? One of my first network marketing businesses that I did in my 20s, called the tax relief system. And this was all about, of course, the tax deductions that you could take as a home-based business owner and relieve a lot of the taxes, um, and then use the money that you would save on taxes to put to work, so that you can eventually like work yourself off of your job, and all of that kind of stuff. So the training that he did earlier was like, it was awesome. It was awesome. And every one of these, wealth books and things like that I have, I always look for three common things. Like, what are 3 to 4 common things that all of the information that I'm um, bringing in, what do they have in common? And those are the things across the board: saving, but not just, saving money in a savings account or something like that. It's like, no, saving money on taxes, saving money on these certain expenses that we have, saving money. And I think we talked about that earlier too, not spending, right? The spending, but investing. So taking what you save on certain things and investing it, putting those dollars to work for you. And so I wrote I put some scriptures up or whatever, but I want you to share with me, like, what did you get out of it? Like, what was your take on everything that was mentioned today? And then I'm going to mute my mic.
Today's training was super phenomenal, Hadassah. I'm just like you. I've learned some of these things during my experience, like working jobs and, figuring out like that's not what I want to do forever. So what he was saying, I kind of knew a little bit, but nowhere near the knowledge that he gave out today. Like Tony Jackson, he was just so, just to give this information and like, this is my thing. This was free information because we're connected to a platform that brings value. And so when he was doing it, and the whole time while he was talking, I was commenting and writing my notes. I kept saying, this is such a blessing because I have the opportunity, and not just me, but all of us who on this platform and on that call, we got this knowledge, we got this information that no one can take away from us. And now we know better. So guess what? We got to go apply this and do better. We just can't have the information and not implement it, right? There has to be application. And so I started, a lot of questions he was asking. I'm like, Michelle, you know this, but you have not applied these things. Because when he was talking about, final wishes and expenses for loved ones, and he gave the story about when his mom passed and who was going to take care of the expenses for her funeral arrangements. The average family, they're acting like that's not something they need to be prepared for. News flash. It's been time for preparation. And now we have someone who's coming, teaching us, telling us, giving us the avenue and the resources to go and get these things done, to make them a priority. So it's just really it resonated with me. Because I'm going, okay, Michelle, it's time for you to stop knowing this and not applying this. Because my mom, she's 65. My dad is in his 60s as well. So I'm going, even me, like 2020 taught us that life is not, promised to nobody. You can be here today, gone tomorrow, and it has no age on it. You can be 12, 30, 50, 80, right? And so if these things are not in order, but we've got the information and we're just not doing anything with it, that's your fault. You have to take full responsibility for that. And then as he went on with the different tax breaks and how to save your money, how to have more of you earning money and keeping money, because he said something so phenomenal. He said, it's not about how much you make, but how much you keep. And we don't even think about that. We want to make the wealthy money. We want to be wealthy. We want to get the riches and all of that. But it's not even about that. We got it backwards. How much are we retaining? How much are we keeping? How much are we investing so it can grow more and earn us more? So when he was talking, I was just sitting there like, Lord, I thank you for the opportunity. I thank you for the platform. I thank you for the connections. I thank you for me being able to be positioned to even hear this information, to get this value, because it means something to me. This is really important. It's top priority. And now I can share it and I can get with my family and say, look, we're doing team huddles. I'm doing family huddles. I'm like, look, it's time out. It's time out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I took so much, Hadassah, from everything.
And that's one of the things that was that that wasn't on the team training, but that was on look, it's so much value in both. They start to run together. They start to run together. But that's what was said on the morning motivation call, where Linda Joe said it. when they were talking about, because we were talking about sacrifices. We watched that video and was talking about sacrifices that's being made. And so I want to get into what Linda Joe said first, and then what Javian said. I think he spoke maybe before her, but it was just something that he said. I'm talking about that afterwards. But Linda Joe said that um because she is around people who are wealthy, and was able to speak to them about like some of the things that they do. And she talked about how they have a family meeting every year, right? They have a family meeting every year. And uh yeah, look, we sure did. And I have to highlight that because I really want to let everybody know that this is just not your and I don't want to say regular, because I'm not putting anybody else's stuff down that they have, right? I mean, everybody chooses the opportunities and things like that works for them. But I'm just talking about how much value that we have over here, because it's like, okay, getting money, yeah, that's great. But again, what do you do with it afterwards? And it's so much more, so much value that we have, because we have the that financial literacy piece. It's like, this is what you do, this is how you keep it. These are the things like what we got today. Okay. So, but Linda Joe, she was talking about how, hey, this family, the wealthy families, come together every year. Like, they have a family meeting yearly, and they hold each other accountable, and they're planning 10, 20, 30, 40 years out. I remember my father telling me that, because we were and my father passed away in 2013. So this is well before he passed away. And I was telling him about we were talking about, like, they were tearing down the projects and everything in the city. And I was just talking to him about certain things with that, and so where they displaced the people and moved them and so forth and so on. And my father hadn't lived in Chicago in man, probably since I was 3 or 4. Since I was like 3 or 4 years old, right? And so here it was, I'm probably like well in my 30s, and we're having this conversation. And he said, yeah, he said they had those plans. He was like, I remember when they were making those plans. He said they had those plans about 40 years out. He said they always plan at least 40 years ahead. And I'm like, whoa. Now here it is. Look, we can't even plan good for the next day. Right? We talking about, what do you see yourself in 10 years? I don't know. But they have plans 40 years out. And so when they come together as a family and they're meeting, they're planning for 40 years out, and then holding each other accountable for, certain things, for what they're doing, their investments, all of this stuff. Because one thing we know is that, as sure as we're living on this earth, we're going to take off the flesh, or we're going to die. Right? Um, I'm going to highlight this comment. Nettie Jenkins, she said, my family never spoke about wealth. Exactly. We can't even have conversations about money just in the house with the people that you live with, besides, you pay this bill, and this bill gonna get paid, or pay that, well, that one lapsed. And these are not the conversations. You know what I'm saying? It's more so about planning ahead. What are we gonna do for the next, and more than just planning a vacation. You see what I'm saying? And that seems like that's the average. That's the average conversation in poor and middle class households. And it's like, come on. And so with Linda Joe, when she talked about that, I didn't know that it had really went that deep. But what I did know was that, yes, they do come to the table at least. Yes, they plan out. Yes, they do have family meetings. You know, but I was just thinking more so as like the people in the household. But she was saying everybody. You know what I'm saying? Grandma, grandpa, like everybody who's living. So here we are trying to put, you know, we may do a family reunion, and it's who's coming with the potato salad. You know, who gonna make the potato salad? Well, you know it, and who can come or who can't come because who finances might be this or that. But they are coming together as a family with wealth, having family meetings about planning 20 and 30 and 40 years out. And that, you know, that's something. So tell me what you think about.
Hadassah, you said a mouthful, and that's what I was just thinking. Even with the comment that Nettie she placed up there, I'm going. We are so afraid to really sit down and have those hard, strong conversations. It may not be the most, you know, fun, entertaining conversation, but it's the most necessary one to have. And so when as you was talking, and I remember hearing Linda Joe speak this morning, I'm going, what is keeping us from doing this? And then even how you mentioned the family reunions and the get-togethers, they're not even effective because we're not talking about what we need to be talking about. We're not planning for grandma's final wishes and does she have a will? So no one's over here having to decide what to do and how to do it because now it's already been planned out the right way. There's already documents, right? And so I'm just asking myself, like, why? Why aren't we doing these things? Why aren't we meeting regularly, consistently, you know, and getting everybody together? So when that time comes, God forbid, but it's going to come a day, you know, when that time comes that we're not prepared for it. You know, we gotta just get out of that mindset because that too is a poor thinking. That's thinking like this is never gonna happen. We can't be living in some type of la land. You know, we got to come out of that fantasy and face reality. And the reality of it, the situation is, it's better for us to go ahead and have those conversations and be prepared than not to. You know, and so, yeah, I agree with you. I think we have to just stop thinking the wrong way and put things in a priority order. We got to put things in perspective and handle that. And this is what, again, this platform teaches us how to save, how to invest, how to talk, how to communicate, how to gather everybody together and let it be an effective meeting versus just we out here, like you said, worried about the potato salad or who ain't coming because they ain't got the money and how you going to get here. And now we got to buy you and all your kids a t-shirt that we all supposed to wear for the photo. Stop playing with all that. You shouldn't even be in that predicament. You've been like that for 20 years. So why are we continuing the cycle of this same pattern, this same poor consistency behavior, right? So you absolutely right. I agree with you. We got to start talking different and we got to start changing and speaking the right way, talking about the right things, meeting up the right way and having those true hard conversations. I'm with you.
Yes, yes. And I mean, it's, girl, and you know it's true. You know it's true because these are things that we could really, you know, it's like we relate. It's like, yeah, that happens. It do be happening. And, you know, now we trying to get the money up for the t-shirts. They planning 40 years ahead. And we trying to hustle up t-shirt money. It stop. Right? It's like
it's ridiculous when you think about it. Like it's just ridiculous, and we're laughing because it's just ridiculous. And when you think about it in hindsight, like I can remember my mama. Everyone used to call her my mom to plan all the family events, and she would be so stressed out. And as a kid, I kept saying, "Why are you so stressed?" You know, because I didn't really understand. But as I got older, and you know, she tried to pass the mantle on to me and my sister and my brother. We like, nope. Because that we won't have family because we have a whole different mindset. And I'll be like, you ain't got to come. I can have me and my folk and we're going to buy our t-shirts, buy our food, eat and then dance and do all of that too. So we're not worried about. I'm like, so mama, you may not want to let us be the takeover crew. because we just don't even deal in all that foolishness. But I used to wonder, like, why she's so stressed? But I see as I got older, because I'm going, people just got priorities all jacked up. And I was thinking about what you were saying about gentrification. 40 years ago, they was planning on how they was going to tear this project down and rebuild for new community, rebuild for innovation, for new business to come in. And I'm from a small town in Macon, Georgia, in Georgia called Macon. And it's so little. Look, if you live there, either you're related to somebody or, everybody family, right? And so I thought about that. And so I went home not too long ago, and I was looking around, and I was like, wow, why is this stuff still sitting here? Abandoned homes, nobody's rebuilt land just unattended to. And I'm going, what is happening? Who's taking care of this? And I'm going, like, this is a community. It's a very small city. Who is taking care of this property and just letting it sit here? The people with the wrong mentality. Nobody is thinking about that. And it's enough entrepreneurs and business-minded people in Macon that can really do something with that city. But no one's thinking in that manner because everybody's still in that traditional mindset. You got to come out of that. So as I heard you talk about Chicago and how your dad was like, oh, they had no plans. Why aren't we planning ahead? And you made the comment, you said we can't even plan the next day. And people planning 40 and 30 years out. What is the issue with us? We can't even get something together. We can't make a schedule for the next day. We can't even make a to-do list, Hadassah. Like, that's with us. What is the problem? What is the missing link? I mean, I just want to know the answer to the question.
And I'm gonna answer Nettie real quick because she just asked. I'm gonna highlight it. She said, "Can you speak on the FX training and how to get started? What it is, and again, how to get started." And so, Nettie, that's what we're gonna speak on a little bit later. Well, basically, I'll tell you right now. After this, at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern, I go into a hyper launch, right? So you're invited. You're going to, as a matter of fact, I'm going to do this right now since we're like almost a half an hour in. So you'll see this information scroll across the bottom. So what you're going to do is go to linktree/coach.hadassah. When you go there, you're going to scroll down and click on Zoom and then enter the password POWER at 4 o'clock Central Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern. And you'll learn everything that you need to know about, what is Extreme FX Global Academy, what we offer, how to get started. And from that, we will definitely be following up with you again. All right. So I'll make sure that I keep that, there so you can take that information. And then, after this, we're going to hop on the hyper launch. And so, that's that thing. This is what this community is all about, because look, this is one of the best times to be alive, especially for us. I'll say it like that, and not only, I would say just, us, but just for the people who have been on the bottom, or the lower base of what we call this structure. And when I say structure, I mean pyramid structure, because everything is a pyramid. Everything, especially in this country, just has that structure. And so, here it is that with this opportunity and home-based business, we're learning about, wealth. We're learning about how to build it. We have an opportunity to do that. We have an opportunity to earn the income. We have several streams of income just within this opportunity alone. But then not only just the income, but what to do with the income after. Like when we get it, because that's something that even Megan talked about that. So here it is, one of our founders, Megan Lynch, who, she really, this was a brainchild of hers, and she spearheaded this company. However, you're not on the island alone and by yourself, right? We have the founders, Megan Lynch, Reagan Lynch, which is her twin sister, Adrian Dynamite Sloan, and D. Jacob Mitchell, where they came together, and this was the brainchild of theirs. And I mean, this is the beginning, right? We are when we say we're the founding members, we really are the founding members. This is like, look, this is like winning a lottery. And the reason why I say that is because your chances are very, very slim, just like the lottery, where you're in at the beginning of a ground floor opportunity. When most people get a hold of ground floor opportunities, we're talking about at least 5 years that they've been around. Well, no, this company is really, we've been operating like it's been 3 or 4 years or whatever, but we're just a couple of months in, and we have so much already. you know just with what it is that we're talking about, how we had the real money coach come on, and he has a product within our community that we're all tapping into. Why? Because it's so, I don't want to say it's easy. I'm not saying that it's easy, but it is not as challenging to earn the income over here that you would in any other company. And I was just about to say about Megan Lynch. She made her first she at $100,000 a month within 90 days. $100,000 a month within 90 days at the height. I mean, the beginning of a pandemic last year, right? Last year, with another opportunity that we were in that really shut its doors on us. They shut its doors on us. And so, we're a Forex Academy where Bitcoin and Forex collide. We're Forex and crypto. And so you'll learn a lot more about it with the with the hyper launch that's coming up after this. So we do encourage you to be on that hyper launch, because you're going to get more information about what we have, all the value that we have over here with Extreme FX Global Academy. And so I wanted to read this because everything is principles, right? Everything is principles. So it's just some scriptures that I pulled up, Proverbs, but this is the one that I was looking for. Yeah, Nettie was like $100,000. Yes, $100,000 1 month, right? $100,000 a month is a little bit over $1 million a year, right? I mean, and I'm not exaggerating the numbers. Not exaggerating the numbers at all. It took her 13 weeks to get that. And here's the thing about it: you have people that aren't even made. I haven't even made $100,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, a lot of people aren't there. Yet some are, but you probably have to have a PhD or a lot of years into something before you're at $100,000 a year. We're talking about $100,000 a month. But it was just based on some simple steps and principles because of how she was taught by a $48 million earner, you know, and that person just taught her very well. And she just followed what they taught. But that's really what it is. Again, that goes back to wisdom and knowledge, wisdom and knowledge, the how to. A lot of people want to know. When you look up the most searched YouTube videos, are the ones that do really well are the how-to videos, because people want to know how. It's like long gone are the days of just theory or academics, because that's what academics mean, theory. That's what it means. It means theory. Okay, but when you put the theory to the test, does it hold up? Does it work? Right? So we talk about that. We say knowledge is power, but it's applied knowledge is power, right? So if we're in an academic setting and we're being taught theory, You have to put theory to the test to see if it works. What they call it, a scientific theory. You have to put that theory to work to see if it works the same way over and over again. And does it produce the same results over and over again? That's how a theory or scientific theory is proved a fact, because you have to do the same thing and it has to give the same results. Right? So then we're past academics at that point. Right? We're at practical application, which is that, again, like you talked about, applied knowledge being power. So I wanted to read this for Proverbs 13:7. Because that was something that was talked about today on the Millionaire Mastermind training too. Again, with that, it's not about how much you make, it's how much you keep. And that reminded me of a Lauryn Hill. I don't know how many people listen to Lauryn Hill, but I'm hip hop and everything. Right? And so that was a Lauryn Hill lyric. She was like, it ain't what you cop, it's about what you keep. Right? That was one of my favorite lines. I was like, yes, yes, Lauryn Hill, yes, it is not about what you cop. What do you keep? Right? What do you keep? I don't care how much money you got. You could make $1 million and spend 2 million. That means you in debt. How many people do that all the time? When we get a raise, right? You get a raise, you make more money, you spend more money. You make more money, you spend more money. But really, the wealth is really built in the savings. It's like it's like, don't get me wrong. I mean, if you're living a lifestyle that's just like totally below, you want to get to where you're comfortable at least. But then when you get there and then you start making more, do you increase? Do you just like steady buy stuff, or do you keep it at a certain point where it's like, okay, I'm cool here, but now take the amount here and here, and in that what's in between, put those dollars to work. Because when you put those to work, you relieve yourself, or you give that time freedom. So Proverbs 13:7, there is that makes himself rich, yet has nothing. There is that makes himself poor, yet has great riches. Right? What is that saying? What is that saying? This is what it's saying. Where's this? Everybody talks about The Millionaire Next Door, and Thomas J. Stanley has a whole lot of other books. Look, I'm going to let you say it.
Stop acting rich. Stop pretending. That's all he's saying.
Right? Stop acting rich and start living like a real millionaire. Well, what does this book talk about? The gist of it is, because that's his whole premise of, okay, I'm going to interview the wealthy, and I'm going to interview them about their habits. What do they do? Because everything is really about your habits. What we do consistently every single day. That is what makes or breaks us. It really does. And so in this book, where many people would think that, okay, the wealthy people, and not saying that they don't have a yacht, they may have a yacht if that's what they want, right? But your average millionaire, the ones that he would interview, it was just certain things that was in common with them. First of all, that divorce was not an option. Right? They're like, and not saying divorce was an option and then they just went about doing whatever it was that they wanted to do with each other and to each other, and abuse or whatever, and then stay married. It's like, no, divorce is not an option. So we're going to make sure that our habits and that we keep our relationship intact. Right? That's what that was about. And so another thing was that they spent 95% of their time with their families. 95% of your time is spent with your families, not in the clubs, not in you know. So family was at the priority, right? And then look, if you spending 95% of your time with your family, one or two things is happening. Either you're working with your family, or you're putting dollars to work for you, meaning that you're investing. So you've bought your time back and you have time freedom. And so you have time to spend with your family, 95%, right? It's one of those two things. They have a family business, and do things together as a family, but maybe having their dollars to work for them so that they can have time with their family. Okay. Um, he delved into how they dressed, right? Like, what kind of clothes do they wear? What kind of clothes do they buy? What was it? On average, they just went to a regular, I don't know, like Walmart, Target, you know what I'm saying? Or some type of department store, whatever, and bought their clothes. Good quality clothing, of course. Well, why good quality? Because if you buy something cheap, then you're buying it over and over and over again, and the money is going out the door because you steady buying clothes, right? But if you bought something classic that had good material, and not necessarily trendy or the in thing, it's classic. I mean, think about what Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, and all of these people, where you see them just wearing a button-up Oxford shirt and some Levi's. You know what I'm saying? A good quality T-shirt or something, and you're just like, what did they're not rocking the gold chains, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you like jewelry, because I like jewelry, and I like gold, like gold or silver, or at least like my stones, my amethyst and stuff like that. But or I don't really want it on my body. Because gold, and like gold, silver, platinum, things like that, it has a energy to it, and it's like a conduit, I would say. What else? The kind of car that they drive. On average, they drove Buicks. Not a Bentley, but a Buick. Well, why? Well, they say it's the same. Buicks are built to last. Baby, let me tell you about a Buick, because I done had a couple of them. Right? Let me tell you about a couple of them. Like, when I learned that, what did I do when I my son, my eldest son, he was in college. He was going to the community college here. And so it was a certain way, like, I mean, I didn't mind them taking the bus or public transportation, like, nothing wrong with that. But it is one of those things where, being here and having to travel through the city, and at a certain place, you be standing on a bus stop trying to get to your destination, and next thing you know is a drive-by or something. Right? Just like crazy. And so, but on top of that, he was about to start, he was trying to get this job too. Well, I just had paid off one of the vehicles that we had, because I don't like car notes. I do not like car notes. I be trying to pay off a car so fast. I'll pay it, and then next thing you know, I'm like, around tax time, I'd be like, how much I got left on the vehicle? Oh, it's this. I'd be like, okay, get the title ready. I'm paying it off. I'm coming. Right? I'm paying for so many cars, cash, like here. Because you got to pay the insurance anyway. So I had a relationship with a certain car dealership. And so I had bought a couple of cars from there. So I had paid off my van. And look, tell you how I like to just get stuff paid. I was still sending them the car note. I was still sending in the payment for the car note. And I received a phone call from them. And what did he say? He said that I had a credit. That's what he said. He was like, you have a credit of, I don't know, something or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, yeah. And got off the phone and kept sending in the payment for the car note, right? So then tax time, because this is to talk about habits. I'm just used to it. Okay. Tax time, I call and I'm like, okay, how much I got left because I want to just go ahead and pay it. And he was like, you've been finished paying for this, for the van. I was like, what? He said, yeah, you kept sending money, so I ain't stop you. Girl, I cracked up laughing. And I said, well, how much credit do I have? So I had about $1,000. I said, oh, Lord. And he said, well, do you need anything? You need the van fixed or, something like that? So I thought about it and I was like, okay, my son do need a car because, he wants to get this job and he's in school. So I talked to him and I let him know. I said, look, I have this credit and I can use this. We can use this in order to put down on you a vehicle. I said, now here's the thing. I'm not paying the car note and I'm not paying the insurance. I'm not doing it. Right? But you could use the credit as a down payment on the vehicle, but you'll be done paying for it in maybe like 12 months. 12 months or however fast you want to pay it off or whatever. But I told him, I said, but don't go any further than 18 months. Just don't. Right? Don't. So he was like, okay. And it was a Buick. We got a Buick. Baby, when I tell you that doggone Buick went through the family. Okay. And that Buick went through the family. Like he had it. And then he had it. I got it for him. And then he ended up going to California for a while. So then my daughter needed a vehicle because something happened with her. So then she took the Buick over and then she drove it and did some stuff and fell asleep at the wheel, had an accident. That Buick was still going. and then she ended up getting another vehicle. He ended up coming back because now by this time he was away at college, in another state. So she was like, okay, I got another vehicle, and and it was paid off and everything. So he was like, okay, he came back home. He got the car. So now he had a car to drive back and forth from, where he was. But then next thing he ended up getting another car. And then that Buick was passed down to my cousin. I mean, like everybody had a turn in this used Buick that had accidents and everything, but it was still going. So when that happened, I thought about it. I said, that's why the wealthy people, you say that they buy Buicks, because Buicks are really built to last. I'm like, they really are built to last. And so here it is. That's a commonality with a lot of them, at least according to what, Thomas J. Stanley does in his interviews across the board. You have Millionaire Next Door, you have The Millionaire Mind, you have The Millionaire Women Next Door, you have Stop Acting Rich, Start Living Like a Real Millionaire. And reading all of those books, that is always the common thread of, we've been conditioned through, like, media and movies and and things like that it's this lifestyle. And even with now when we have social media and everything, and when you want to do the attraction marketing, then what you paint this picture that you're living this type of lifestyle. And it's not to say that you're not. Maybe you are. Right? Maybe you are. But oftentimes it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. Trust me on this. A lot of times It's a lot of smoke and mirrors. And I'm speaking from, being at least around the entertainment industry, with photo shoots and stuff like that. I mean, it's just creative. I can make something, a set or whatever, take some pictures at certain angles and make something look like something that's really not happening. Right. And so, that's one thing that for myself, I said that I wouldn't want to do, because I'd rather give people the reality, right? I'd rather give people the reality of, the road to wealth, because it's a road, right? It's a road, it's a journey. I've been on this journey myself for 20, at least 21 years. And you kind of, a person would think, well, shoot, 21 years, you should have been this and done that. Well, think of a 21-year-old. That's how I look at my journey. I look at my journey as now a 21-year-old, reaching the age of the majority. And I've learned a lot along the way. And now with the wisdom and knowledge, when the money comes, I know exactly what to do with it. I already have my trust attorney on speed dial. You know what I'm saying? I already have the power of attorneys and all of these kind of things set up to where all you have to do now is fill these certain buckets. Like when he talked about the buckets, fill these certain buckets up with the money that will come in and overflow, and have gotten, because that's another thing too. Do you remember that part when they was talking about, I believe Megan said this when she was talking about Robert, when, of course, by him having all that money, and stuff like that. And okay, you want to buy all the toys, right? And you just kind of get that kind of stuff out of your system. And usually this just something, and this is the reason why that they say that most people become millionaires or step into, that millionaire domain, so to speak, on an average of age 50. That's the average age of a millionaire is about age 50. Well, why is that? Because most likely you made the money before that time and what? Spent it. I need a Bentley. I need a yacht. I need a Rolex. I need gold chains, all of that kind of stuff. And then, because you thought that it would buy some type of happiness or some type of emotion or whatever. And then you just looking at all this stuff like, this don't even do anything. It doesn't do what I thought that it would do, and it's just kind of like a you live and learn type of thing. So I understand why most people, would be, or the millionaire age is like average 50 years old, because if they've made a lot of money beforehand, they went through that. They went through the, let me go and spend and splurge and all of that, just all of that stuff. What's your take on that?
I agree with you. That's what I think they have to get out their system. Like you said, you get the wealth and you get the riches. So you want to go splurge a little bit. You want to go treat yourself, buy all those things that you used to dream about having, those toys and jewelry and things. And then it comes to a point they're like, you know what? Okay, did it, spent all that money unnecessarily, and now let me just start back getting to reality of it. Like, I don't need all of that. Can't drive 8 cars, can't drive 8 Bentleys at one time. So don't need the Bentley. Not on a yacht. I'm in my office or I'm somewhere out making money. So don't need the yacht. And so I think, like, she gave the example of Robert. You just come to a point where you realize that you don't even need all those things. And now the priority changes. So it goes back to more investments. It's going back to how can I now make more money and earn more with the proper investments and things like that? Because now that those material things don't mean anything. And I just loved how this morning on the call, how Megan was even transparent when she said, you know what, now I've made the money and I'm doing good, I just don't know what to do with it now. And she too has to go to a money coach, someone to help her understand how and what to invest her money in to really make a difference, but to ultimately keep and retain and save that money versus spending it. You know what I'm saying? Getting things in priority order and be smart about it. Don't want to go out there and just buy these things and they're not adding any value or type of benefit to your life or to your children's lives. So yeah, it's time to think about now that I have the money and the finances and the wealth, what's the wise thing to do with it? What's the proper thing to do with it? How do I appropriate the wealth? So yeah, absolutely. What you're saying.
Yeah. And so, you know, that's it. That kind of reminds me, and I'm gonna wrap this up because it's now, you know, going like 1 minute before 4 o'clock where we go into our you know, hyper launch. But Jim Carrey said this, that he said, I wish that everyone, right? Everyone can get rich. So, you know, and get rich and make a lot of money and get the fame and everything, so that they could really see that it's not it. That's not the answer, right? It's something, because really what it is something inside that's missing, right? It's that void that nothing material can fill, you know, nothing can fill that void. And the only thing that can really fill that void is that oneness, that bond, and that connection, you know, with the spirit from which, hey, we're all living and breathing and everything anyway. It's just really connecting with self and feeling, you know, getting that inner man together. And then once that is it, then it's funny. What's that scripture? Oh shoot, how can I? It's not that I'm forgetting it. It's just that it's like on the tip of my brain. Girl, it's so common.
What profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul?
No, not that one.
I don't know which one. I'm trying to go through the scriptures in my head that's related to the topic. I'm
Right.
like, where we going? Where we going?
It's It is, seek ye the kingdom of Yahweh first, right? And then all these things will be
added
unto you.
Absolutely.
Right? But that's the first thing.
Seek.
And then everything is an addition. So that's where we are right now. Especially with Extreme FX Global Academy. We're right here, and this is an addition to everything that we've probably already done. You know, the work that we've done. I mean, I know that I've done a lot of inner work over the past 21 years or so, right? And so all this is an addition. A beautiful one.
Yes.
So with that, I thank you so much, Coach Cotton.
Love it. I'm so grateful that you invite me on your platform every day. Like I said, we can do this all day. I love it, and I get fed too, and I get the teaching. So I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yes. So we'll be back again tomorrow, of course, at your 3 o'clock hour. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern. And then we go right into our hyper launch, which is at 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. So you see the information that's scrolling right there. Come on over to Linktree / Coach Hadassah. Scroll down, click Zoom, enter the password, which is power. And we'll see you on the other side of success.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Miss Scott.
You're welcome. I'll see you in just a second.
Okay.